This is meant to be fun. Remember. It's all supposed to be fun. Are you having fun?
Oh, yeah.
I tried thinking, what's it giving me a headache?
Oh, no.
Really? Ooh.
I think I've got one now.
Did you get 3?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, good.
It's a struggle.
Okay, what I want, we're creating something here. I want,
Reason for thanks.
I want, I can try to help you with this if possible, but I want you to melt these down, like the first 3. We'll take a look at the first 3 and melt these down into one meaningful word that embodies every one of these. To give you an idea, do you need an idea of what I mean or
No,
anything?
I think I can grasp
Mhm.
Okay.
it.
Okay.
What do you want an idea?
No, I got it. I think. My reality, I have.
Yeah, just one word that could really mean the essence of these 3 phrases. Something that embodies all 3 of the phrases.
Is yours?
Maybe we're already in the sentences.
Oh, mine aren't. One word.
Yes.
Okay. For each of the 3? Each for each
One word to embody all 3.
of the first.
Just the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll do that with the following too.
Okay.
So you can go ahead if you're done. If you already did the first one.
I don't know.
Oh, you did all. Okay,
You
so
jumped ahead.
you wrote one word that embodies the first 3,
Uh-huh,
and then you did another word that embodies the next 3,
uh-huh,
and then a word that embodies the next 3.
uh-huh.
Is it the same word?
No.
Okay, good. You did well. You did it in record time too, by the way.
Okay.
Okay.
First one was the hardest.
The first one was hard, you said?
Yeah, because the way I said these things, they really. I was having. I'm still
Okay.
not fully satisfied with my word on the first one.
Okay. You could make some adjustments as you go on. But the reason that we did this is I guess I'm not really, I feel like I'm not really prepared to talk about the inquiry aspect of this. This is just something that a couple hours, actually an hour before you came here, I realized I wanted to do this in this class. But what,
I like
what,
this exercise a lot so far.
Yeah,
pardon me?
I like this exercise a lot so far.
Okay.
it wasn't that.
So-
Figured out, yeah.
So what the idea of what I came up with was, it's like a badge of honor for each of us. But it's so here's the words I came up with: flow and teach and love, and those are the things that embody each one of those areas. And that's what I want you to keep in mind, and what I want you to do, as if there is really. A badge. Do they wear something like this in Star Trek? Did they have a little emblem like that on their shirt?
Oh,
That I can
yeah.
visualize
I
that.
had one of those Star Trek emblems once, I don't even remember it anymore, but you press it.
Right.
You had to talk to someone.
Really? You know, Man from Uncle might have something like this too. Since we're reaching back there.
Napoleon Solo.
Yes.
Ilya Kuryakin
Horrible
and
pressure.
Robert Vaughn. I had his autograph.
Whoa.
Yeah, I met Robert Vaughn when I was a little kid. Couldn't sleep for 6 weeks.
They were filming 26 Men. Was anyone raised in Arizona, or you wouldn't remember that?
What?
26 Men. It was about the Arizona Rangers. I don't think the Western got out of Arizona.
Mm.
It was filmed near us, so whoever was the star, I got his autograph once.
So these 3 words, I'm sure it's something you can memorize. And hopefully it's something that you can embody and something that you can come back to whenever you feel like you can benefit from some self-inquiry. You know, throughout the day.
Let me take a look at that again. So you've got a
The-
pyramid
what I got
there.
here?
Well,
Yeah.
not necessarily words, but the idea that you know, when I look at that as a pyramid, it looks like, you know, you move up from the bottom to the top,
Mhm.
and the top has it looks like a hierarchy. Or do you see it that way?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So that might not necessarily.
Oh, I don't
Okay.
know, cause the base has to be much broader and
This is
more.
the foundation, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's solid. Has
Yeah,
to
the
be.
foundation. Yeah. So you know what we're looking, and the reason I brought this up is because you were talking about beliefs, and who does the believing? Is there a self behind the beliefs? And on a cognitive level, the self is always going to be there. You know, because you know somebody even the most realized person, you put his name on top of the email when you send him a letter, you know, or you call him by the name and he responds. And you know, it kind of goes back to that teeter-tottering between the relative and the ultimate. Even somebody that's awakened has to have that cognitive self that's there. And when we start talking about beliefs and experiences and thoughts and memories, they're always going to be there. If they weren't, I mean, really, I mean that is the experiences are life. You know, that's a flowing part of life, and they're always there. But the person that is awakened, it's like wearing that raincoat where everything just falls off, it just sheds off. I think we talked about that last week, didn't we? About that. And that comes to, you know, all the questions I was asking you. Where does the suffering and the pain come from? You know, that we have. It comes from the brain, the temple.
What we create.
It's all created by by ourselves, and we touched on this too. But the Buddha said, the suffering comes from desires. You know, desires to have more of this pleasurable things, or the desire to have less of this painful things. When we find the pleasurable things, we want them to stay pleasurable. We want them to stay. And when we discover something is painful, we want to push it away. We don't want it near it. And that's our life. You know, that's our life. And that process still continues to happen. But if there's no, I guess we could say foundation, if there's no self behind any of that, it just softens it up. And I think we all realize that at this point. You know, the question comes up, when we realize that, what do we do? I mean, how do we, you know, can we stay in that? Can we stay? What do we do to stay in there? And all we can really do, you know, it's debatable about the practices and stuff. I shouldn't say all we can do, but one thing that really helps is the embodiment of these things that we just worked with, and the self-inquiry that we do, you know, with this. I don't know if we want to call it a mantra or whatever. I hesitate to call it a mantra. Matter of fact, I won't. But it's something. Every time we dip into that non-dual awareness, we can go back into that. Until we get there, until we have that spontaneous drop off the edge, you know, which will happen sometime, we don't know when. But until then, we can dip into it. And I know that the more we do that, whether it's in meditation or everyday practices and stuff like that, that we start to live that and embody that non-dual place. Something that happened to me today. I was going. I said, "There's nobody at the house here," you know, and I said, I was going to go over to the gym, and I said, "Oh," I said, "we should weigh ourselves," and I thought, what is this about? We should weigh ourselves. But the thing is, like, I caught it right away. I mean, thankfully. But it was like there's a whole group of people there. Right? They're gonna, let's all weigh ourselves. And of course, I knew I was by myself. And I right away I thought, oh, that's incredible. I'm gonna have to. I'll bring that up tonight when I'm talking to you people. So.
Where did that come from?
Came off the top of the. It was spontaneous,
Mhm.
and it came from. I guess a lot of it was memory. The other part, as far as the we, like two of us, there's that seer, the one that would be weighing, and then the other one that's doing the action, or there's one that's seeing the scale, and the other one that's putting somebody on the scale.
Which one was talking?
Both probably.
That's weird because one of the things that nurses are really guilty of is speaking in that first person plural. Are we ready for our bath, Mr. So-and-so? And we're admonished terribly about doing that, and so we're really schooled out of that. But they called it the royal we, and it sounds like.
It's kind of habitual, isn't it?
Well, if you think about it, even that, I mean, this is a shared experience, this is a we experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it was really hard to give up that we.
That we-ness.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because when you walked into a room to do whatever you had to do, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there was a we. There was,
Yeah, the we is softer. But
yeah, it
the
is.
other is, it's we're together in this,
Uh-huh.
and the other can. Are you ready?
For what I'm going to do to you, right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, this
So
is
maybe-
what I'm going to do to you. You
So
better
maybe
be
your
ready.
we wasn't
I mean,
so-
Yeah, we. I like we better.
Uh-huh.
Well, if I wasn't ready, I might say half of us are.
It's
No,
probably-
half of us don't want to get on the scale.
initially it's probably pretty good, but when the client hears that again and again and again, they probably are. They know that we are going to do something. Probably tense up a little bit. I have one more exercise that I'd like us to do.
Is it writing?
No, we can put the boards away. These are just kind of fun things. I hope you're having fun with them.
All right, that was kind of cool.
I was writing this morning. In 4th grade, I flunked penmanship. Man, I got a D in penmanship in 6 weeks. It never got better.
Mine's really hard to read.
I'm gonna read this because it's worded in such a way that I don't have it memorized. This is a mirror-like, the mirror-like consciousness. Mirror-like. We've all seen examples of mirrors, particularly using the mirror as a symbol for the mind. The clean mirror or the dirty mirror or whatever. And this is perfect. There's two of us. I just put some cellophane on these. So it's a little bit hard to see. It's just that I'll give these to you while I'm reading this. You don't have to do anything with them. Just those are actually candle-based things. One view that may be taught in regard to looking at our image within a mirror can be called mirror-like awareness. The self is completely transparent to its. The self is completely transparent to itself, can see and be itself fully, just like looking in a mirror. We then see things just as they are, without opinions, without projections, without ideas, without distortions, completely objective. When we realize mirror-like awareness, the transparency, clarity, and complete colorlessness is seen at the same time to be complete perfection. This awareness makes us clear about ourselves all the way to our true nature. So we are clearly and transparently cognizant of our condition at the moment. In the work of self-realization, the self regains its light, which is perception, which is awareness, which is clarity, which is understanding, which is consciousness. The inner journey is a matter of perception, increased understanding and increased knowledge, which various faculties of functioning, and various faculties of functioning. Self-realization is the realization of the potential of the self with full awareness and appreciation, making our association with the self more clear. Self-realization is the realization of the potential of the self. So it's a seeing clearly. An alternative view of using this method of looking at our image within a mirror is called discriminating mirror-like consciousness. Everyone and everything is seen as it is. This is the realm of the mind in which it is seen that emptiness is form and form is emptiness. Your mind is spacious and empty. Your consciousness is released so that everything is seen as it is. All the content of experience is seen exactly as it is without a wish to manipulate or label or value things according to the unconscious. This is also experienced as clear mind, a sense of clarity and perception. Forms are exactly themselves, thoughts are just thoughts, feelings arise within impression or response, without impression or response. Things are seen without the subjective filter. It is seeing things without the past, completely fresh and new. In the mirror-like consciousness, the fundamental capacity for consciousness is functioning to simply reflect back what is there without distortions. So we really have two different ways of looking at this mirror-like consciousness. One is that we have a clear understanding of the self, that we see the self clear. And the reason I brought these out like this is because sometimes we run into that analogy with the mirror, that we want to have a clear perception of the self. This other analogy is that we see the mind the mirror is a representation of the mind, and it reflects everything just as it is, with no coloration, no judgment, no concern or no commentary or anything like that. It's just reflecting exactly what it is. And so the reason I put the cellophane on those, I was just kind of fooling around. And so a mirror with cellophane is that it's kind of fractured, you know. It's not very clear. It's like the mind that doesn't that has this sense of self in it. So there's a layover, an overlay, I should say, of the self, of all the judgments of everything that we see, of everything that's reflected in the mirror.
So it's like St. Paul's through the glass, seeing through the glass darkly.
How does that go? Is it the clarity through the glass?
Yeah,
The glass
it's like,
is...
well, when we look at it through the mirror with this cellophane on it, it's like we don't get to see a whole thing. We get to see it in pieces. And through a glass darkly means we see it different.
I'll give you the clear view.
Yeah, wasn't better.
I don't know.
That's debatable.
Nah, really.
Okay,
The
so,
wind was pretty good today.
if you want a copy of this meditation, let me know after, and I'll make some copies for you, or send you some copies. So, you just hold the mirror in front of you. You might want to just hold it like this to whatever's going to be most comfortable, and you might want to hold it as high as possible, because I know when I hold it down like this, I look about like I'm 90 years old, So you might want to get a real better true image of it, and then whatever you think.
Yeah, there reaches a point in our life when there's no good position for the mirror.
I'm just giving you some
Maybe there.
beauty tips,
You take your glasses off and then it's not a problem.
Okay, glaze at your
Glaze?
gaze. I'm sorry.
Graze.
Yeah, gaze. Yeah, gaze into your reflection for a few moments. So we're not really trying to focus on anything or concentrate on anything. Just a gaze into your reflection. And at this point, immediately notice your reaction to what you see. Are there judgments and concerns? So let your gaze be soft and affectionate and loving. And what do you see? We are seeing skin, hair, and teeth. As far as what we might consider ourselves, that's really all we see. Do you see anything else besides that? You might see the clothes you're wearing or something in the background, but on yourself, what we might consider a self, the body, there's skin, hair, and teeth, and really nothing else. And if you find yourself looking away, just return your gaze to the reflection. And it's most important of all is notice any judgments or commentary that may arise, such as, I look old, I'd like to change this or that, I need to fix my hair. All the habitual busyness and judgment that we have when we look into a mirror. Not really seeing, we look into a mirror to make adjustments as a biofeedback tool to see how we look before we run out of the house or something. And now look for the accompanying story of me or my or I as you look into the reflection. And allow, if you can, allow it all to pass away. Let any feelings or emotions that may arise just simply fall away. And take a few moments to see how much acceptance you can have for yourself and what you're looking at. And then see if you can eventually find yourself connecting with the essence behind the experience. The true life behind the stories and the feelings. And the inner light that radiates through your eyes. And you may realize that the one looking is not the image you see in the mirror. Okay, you can put the mirror down now. Good thing we were doing a silent meditation. Feel any acceptance? Feeling of acceptance, or any comments on it? Notice the habitual mind that says, I want to change something, or I see something I want to change. Or, no? No, it's acceptance, and you're okay with it?
Yeah, you know, none of that stuff. You know, I was
Yeah.
mostly just interested. I was noticing, you know, wrinkles and stuff that I hadn't
Yeah,
noticed before, but without judgment. I was just interested.
yeah. That's the kind of mind, the kind of mind you're working with, I guess. Intuitive.
You know, and towards the end, when you're looking, and at first I started to beginning, I was going to start paying attention to the eyes, but you kind of said, more. You said something to
Yeah.
discourage that.
Yeah, we're not really focusing or concentrating on anything specific.
And I wish I could say towards the end that I had some deep connection or something, but I didn't.
It's something to try. Some people do.
I know, and I have before doing things like that, I'm kind of blocked right now. So I think
Somewhat.
I'm kind of feel myself doing some blocking right now. Don't know why.
Anticipation.
Hmm?
Anticipation. Oh, geez.
No, what would it be? What would it be? What's the cause of that?
Could be many things.
Yeah, okay. It'd have to involve. It could be anything. Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure. I had something come into mind and I blocked it.
Pages are not ordered. So we're working with beliefs. We're not trying to destroy any beliefs. We wrote our beliefs down, and we have these perceived ideas, we have these experiences and these memories and these thoughts, and we're not trying to dampen or stop or do anything with these things. We're just trying to let them flow, but with taking that seat of that non-dual perspective and really trying to see everything in life the way we're looking in that mirror without judgment. You know, without trying to change anything, without trying to make any corrections, just seeing it for what it is. You know, that's what we're looking at the mirror. I was doing it along with you. I did that meditation a few times this week, and I've done it in the past, but I did it last, like this morning I did it for an hour. And might want to try it, at home when.
With a mirror, you don't have to hold.
Yeah, well, I kind of did this, and it worked. But it's, most of my meditations are with the eyes closed, and so it's completely different, than a meditation. But you start, different things come up. You start wondering, what am I seeing? What is seeing? The eye, and how the eye works, and whose eye is that? And and how the nerves, how it registers with the brain, and it's just seeing. That's all we're doing is just seeing, and everything else is connected. That we're only seeing. Seeing is seeing, hearing is hearing, tasting is tasting, and we think that there's this individual self that's doing all of this, which separates us from the rest of the world. And it's just really a process of experiences, this experience neither ends or it neither begins or neither ends. It's just a complete flow, and that's life. But we try to stop that. We try to say that was looking in the mirror was my experience, and that's how we talk about all these things. When we get together with somebody, that was, boy, did I have an experience. It's like, boom, a block in time and space, and it's not that at all. It's just life unfolding. And so when we look at stories the same way, all of these stories that we believe happen to us, because we take these as just like the experiences. We take them and say, this is my story. The more stories we have, the more substantial self we have. We're building a self behind it. How can we have a self without stories to back it up? What happens if we live a life without these stories, without these?
Or with lightly held stars.
I'm sorry?
Or with lightly held stars.
Lighter stories, yeah.
Well, I think there has to be, if we're gonna communicate, we gotta be here, so,
Yeah, that goes back to that cognitive self,
Yeah.
that cognitive idea of, there's that cognitive identification, but one of the main things is to let go of the control and have the acceptance and let go of the control, because what are we really in control of? If experiences and stories don't have this beginning or end, if they're just happening, is there really any control? I mean, if we had control, just think of how different the world would be. We would all be working at home, and we'd be going on vacations all the time, and or something like that. I don't know. Humanity would be completely different. If we had control, we would all be eating, just one specific kind of diet. We'd all have this perfect body. We wouldn't age, of course.
we don't look like we're
I wonder
twice.
how long that would last before you wanted to change it.
Right. Well, that desire for us to be in control, to change things. Yeah. Different ways to look at it. Imagine what life would be if we didn't have to control ourselves, if we didn't have to control other people. I think how freeing that would be. we really, the first thing the mind does is say, yeah, well, I'm in control when I turn the steering wheel, my car goes this way. But it's like we're doing a little bit of manipulating, throughout this, this world that we live in, this consciousness. But ultimately, we really don't have any control over anything. And as soon as we accept that, there's a huge amount of freedom that can come from that. Not having to change this or change that, because they will change. Things change all the time, whether we want them to or not. We can watch the change, and that's really what we're doing. We're watching things change all the time. To be able to step back and say that life is just a series of experiences. Not really a series,
Maybe
but
we are an experiment.
maybe life is an experiment. We just can't see the experimenter, right?
Yes.
See, there'd have to be an experimenter if if we were an experiment. But it is, we have experiences. We have, we could say memories, and all these things are experiences. But there's no experiencer behind that. We can't take these, there's no experiencer to take these experiences and bundle them up and say, these are mine, and to hang on to them. They even write history books, like this was so-and-so's experience. We'll write a book about it, and then all of a sudden they're changing the history books, finding out that they're not even correct. They do that all the time. Changing the history books.
We gotta make sure that all
No, they
the
don't.
right ones.
Now there has to be, the feminists complain because most of the history's about men. And so they want more, she-based,
Huh?
more feminine-based stories, history stories. Most of the history we tell is about, if you just take American history, for example.
That's what guys want?
Yeah.
Kidding. How are we doing here? Any comments or anything? Did we get deep enough, do you think? With this series of 6 weeks? Or could we have gone deeper?
I felt the last couple weeks were a lot
Getting
more meaningful. For me.
getting there.
It would be interesting if, for example, you were to start off the first week like where we started last week, or this week even.
Yeah, well, the next one probably will, kind of something.
I've got a lot going on. I'm going to have a class for a week. I've got a guest coming for 3 weeks staying at the house. I can't go to the next one.
Well, I'll remind you about, there'll be another one in June. Okay. Yeah, I'll remind you if you're interested.
I'm interested.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because these will continue and they'll get better. This is
I understand completely.
yeah.
So
This
this
is
was the experiment, see?
Well, anything you do, you practice is helpful.
Yeah, that's why
Experience
I
is
appreciate
helpful.
you guys being here. So I don't want to think in terms that I'm practicing on you, but I just this stuff I really want to share.
How do you want to say
I
it?
think it's
Yeah.
I really do believe all our suffering comes from the identification of the self, and that a true awakening is nothing more than realizing that self is an illusion.
I believe that.
Yeah, I know you do, Steve. Yeah, I can tell.
But
I think you do too, Patty Jo.
Yeah, but it's just staying there. It's kind of shaky sometimes.
So sometimes you forget it, or sometimes you believe it.
I don't think that is, I think it's
Are you
sometimes.
teeter-tottering?
No, I think it's just sometimes it's more difficult to grasp than others.
Oh yeah.
I think,
and sometimes it's real easy to lose sight of those beliefs.
Yeah, oh yeah, sort of like the changing belief thing, totally identified with where he was at.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think-
It's, yeah, it's like, you know, it's like that with the real hardcore non-dual teachers. What they're constantly doing is pulling people back into that place, just pulling them back in. That's all they do, and it's like a sad song. Just pull people back into that non-dual place. That there is no self. You know, I can't help you with that realization because there is no me to help you. And you know, it's you know that kind of thing, and it gets very intense. And a lot of people, it's just teeter-tottering on that edge. You know, whether it's of that realization and then the non-realization of that.
What I appreciate, Shane, is that, yes, these last couple of weeks have been, we've gotten deeper and more firmly, I think, grounded in this void of non-dualism, but I think we almost had to start with that kind of first couple of weeks where it was difficult and we all kind of strained and struggled with definitions and then realizing that our
Well,
definitions were
we're
not.
at many different levels here too, with you know the other people that were here and stuff.
I guess just speaking for this person here,
Oh yeah,
it was
yeah.
helpful to, you know, I think we almost had to start there.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I thought so too. Otherwise, I wouldn't have started there. But
Yeah, because if you'd
I'm sure.
right off the wall jumped into, but there's no self to drag you into this non-dual reality, I've been lost. I mean, seriously, just because the languaging is so.
Yeah, languaging is so difficult.
it is. It gets in the way. One of the other area is the practices. You know, the practices in that. It does, and that's a big controversy whether. You know, I really enjoy meditation, and I'll do it regardless. But a lot of the teachers of non-duality, they've claimed to have this awakening, and they say that the practices don't really help much. But yet, these are the same people that have been practicing all the way up to that point. You know, when they had so what they're doing is they're like dropping the practice off once they're there, or they're picking up a different kind of practice. But it's very common for them to say that they don't. Well, one thing is they certainly say is they don't practice on a regular basis anymore. That it's dropped off. Practice meditation.
I wonder though.
You know, sorry.
No, that's okay.
That's not true with a lot of them, but it seems like it's kind of a recurring thing as far as listening to them talk. But
You know, what would, another thing that would be useful for this, I think, is, you know, as you're talking about a lot of these teachers, you know, if you were to have like a page on your website or something, with just links to say, these are all the teachers I know about here, and here's a sentence or two about them, or not, but just
yeah,
the
that would
links.
be. I'll have to do that. Put some links
That
in.
would be very helpful because you talk about these teachers, but yet.
You know, like I've listened to a lot of Mooji.
Mhm.
In the past, I listened
He's
to a
very
lot of
clear.
Gangaji. Yeah.
I've sat with Gangaji before. And Rupert,
Yeah.
you know. And,
Do you have his book? His first book?
no, I
Okay.
probably will pick up his other one.
Well, his,
Have you?
No, I'm going to order it.
Hmm.
You know, and he's just released like 2 at the same time.
Hmm?
He released 2 at the same time.
Initially?
Recently, no, he did 1 initially several years back.
Oh, he has
Within the last
presence.
6 months, he released 2, I believe, at about the same time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I heard something from his editor said that he's.
Well, then
Just-
I'm wrong, but I heard in one of his talks, I heard him say that he was going to be doing that.
Oh, okay. I know that one. The presence is one it's out.
Yeah.
But very good teachers, very clear. You know that they're in that place.
Yeah.
And there,
And
and
you know,
there's-
there's some Buddhist people that are very much in that place too.
Yeah.
I think you'll like Rupert Square. I like, just of the normal people, I really like, I'm not gonna forget names again, I'm too old.
yeah, the names are failing me
It's
right
that
now
time on the
too.
planet, don't even call it the A word anymore.
That girl in Australia is very clear too. Young girl, I can't think of her name. It'll come to me. But there's a lot of good teachers. That's a good idea. I'll just put links on the website and suggest people. Yeah. Just there's a lot of junk out there, and
That's what I was.
Always more drunk than that, but you find them quick.
yeah, and it can be confusing, especially when you get on YouTube and start clicking on things. You just get dragged away into the other areas anyway, it seems. But yeah, I'll do that. It's a good idea. Any other suggestions? Equally as good?
Bibliography would be excellent. Because
Okay, here's another. It depends on how much commitment you're going to get, but like you're handing these things out, and there's these meditations or something. But to have a suggestion to say, well, during your meditation this week, try and follow this particular routine several times or something.
Yeah.
Something.
homework.
Yeah,
What I do.
Homework.
Yeah, but
Not-
experiential homework.
Yeah, not necessarily writing, but something because sometimes what
But
happens.
writing is good too. Can be good. Yeah.
But
But-
I don't know if it matters, it just that it's something to,
Something.
I
To
gotta
force
do.
involvement,
Yeah,
to encourage involvement.
Some way
Participation.
to stay connected and involved
Yeah.
from Monday to Monday.
We were talking at one point of having, at the beginning, of having some kind of a email exchange, but